order for that to happen. But let's move on and let's move forward and let's give a warm welcome to these beautiful ladies. We have Jeffri beside me, and then we have Morgan underneath. Huge shout out to you girls. Excuse me, ladies. Thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. You guys look beautiful as always. Honey face cards never declare.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, dear. Thank
Yes,
you.
more than welcome. More than welcome. I know with the show, I have done panel reviews. I have done.
Now, before we get started, guys, listen, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Whew, baby, listen, it's been a great morning already so far. If you weren't already here, we interviewed Ayana on, Love is Blind, Impromptu. But now we're here talking about Ready to Love. I watched this interview twice. Well, at least the first time I watched it, the second time I listened to it, twice. Okay, all right. And it was such an intriguing interview. Different things were said that have me thinking some way. Okay, all right. Some of you already kind of said it in the chat already about some of the things we're picking up straight away that seem to be a little bit sussy. Okay, now if you can't see very clear, I'll make it much more bigger. Okay, we have Jeffri sitting in this position, and I think it's more the fact the camera is not fully on her head. Now it might be that the camera was too low and she didn't have a tripod or whatever. I don't know, but the position that she's sitting in is screaming out to me, I'm trying to be regal, I'm trying to be royal, I'm trying to be classy. It was almost a little bit too much, right? The position, the way she's sitting, right? That's the first thing. Most of us notice the exact same thing. So she shouldn't come after me. It's just something that we all noticed. It was like, why is she sitting that way? It's to promote the regality, the royalty, the wealth, the upright, righteous kind of stance, the way she's sitting at an angle, not straight towards the camera. Right. So, there's a, as Cammy said, there's an exude. She's trying to exude this queenness, this royalty, this wealth, this potency, this air of elitism in the way she's sitting. So it's quite interesting. Again, and the reason why this is interesting because it falls into the bracket of, again, once more, Jeffri playing the role. Jeffri is very good at playing the role. Okay, now don't get twisted. The body looking good. Let me say that's one thing I have to say about Jeffri. Jeffri, I will never take it away from you. Girl, you look fine. Okay, you look fine. No matter how mad some of the things that you do, I think you're looking good. Okay, all right. So we're never gonna hate on that, but it is trying to exude that particular royalty and regality, and it's quite interesting because it does create this dynamic between herself and Morgan, right? You got the camera at Morgan right in her face, right in front of her, and you got it versus Jeffri. And I think it too, even though they're toxic twins, the twins don't operate in the exact same way, right? So Jeffri operates in a way, in a sphere of, I like to say, putting on the facade, that is acting, that is, I believe, a little bit of delusion as well at points in time. I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but holding to some disillusion, and that comes through her whole body language. Whereas with Morgan, you get what you paid for, right? That's what, and this presents this interesting contrast between the two twins, right? The camera, how it is. Morgan's face is right there, bang. You're gonna get what you paid for. With Jeffri, it's like I'm gonna put on this, and I'm gonna show you a performance. I'm going to show you what I want you to see of me, right? So she made sure to let us know her look, and I coming out looking like a black Lara Croft. I ain't gonna hate on her. Okay, she looked good. Morgan looked good too, but the craziness was a little bit too much for me. Okay, but anyway, let's get the show going, man. You know what I mean? If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. Okay, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Okay, all right. So we're gonna have a real conversation now about what we're seeing right in front of us. Okay, just to break down what's happening. Okay.
Done live watch parties. I'm not sure if you guys actually seen any of them that I've done. And I know Morgan and Jeffri had my emotions going on a roller coaster. But at the end of the day, and I've always said this through all the seasons that I've done panels with, I've always said, as long as you show up as your true self, I'm gonna love you. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just the type of person I am. I accept people for exactly who they are. And yeah, so you ladies ready to get started?
Now, this one says again, I know it ain't easy for Jeffri sitting in that position. If you just watch real quickly, I was kind of watching it for a few minutes. Just watch her hand. She has to move it again. Listen, girl's suffering. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Just really quickly. Watch her hand.
Done panels with, I've always said, as long as you show up as your true self, I'm gonna love you. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just the type of person I am. I accept people for
readjust.
Exactly who they are.
Maybe that position's not easy.
You ladies ready to get started?
The position that she's sitting in is not easy. It's not easy to sit in that position. Do you know what it takes to sit in that position? It's not easy. Then she said she had to move her whole hand just to kind of come back in position. It's not easy to sit in that position. You know what I mean? You're going to hurt yourself, baby. Okay? Anyway, let's continue.
Maddie. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready for all y'all questions. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask you about your background. I'm not going to ask you where you come from, where you grew up. That's not what this is about. This is about the fans' questions. So the very first.
Now, you know, I'm going to ask you your background. If they come on this channel, by the grace of God, I've measured them both. They should know. If they come on this channel, I'm going to ask them both their backgrounds. Because I don't just want to talk about you right on the show. I want to talk about how you got to this position so we know how you got here. You know what I mean? All right,
question I have for you. So what I'm going to do is I have the two questions I'm about to ask you now, and then I have separate questions for Jeffri, and then I have separate questions for Morgan, and then I have questions that they asked for both of you ladies to answer together.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. The very first question is why they name themselves the Toxic Twins? Did they give themselves that name? I just don't understand. Where did they get their name from? So that's the really first question.
Listen, we are genuinely positive ladies. So we can't, you guys only get like 15% of who we are. So if what you guys see on the screen is toxic, we're going to capitalize. We're toxic, whatever. However, we're not going to argue with you guys about what you guys think. So you have to get to know people.
Morgan?
Yeah.
My first point is you're not gonna. My first point, I have to disagree. She said we're not gonna argue with the way that you guys see us, but you went onto Simone's platform, and was you not trying to change the way she saw you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't that the reason why you went there in the first place? Because she was talking about something that you felt wasn't correct per se. You know what I mean? So you saying now all of a sudden that you don't want to change the public's perception. No, you're leaning into the negativity, right? And you see that negativity plays into attention, and negativity plays into attention. Attention gets you eyes on you and views and clicks. So you're leaning into it. It's a bit like when the girls did the whole Brown Squad situation some seasons back. It's like, we know you leaned into your mean girl status. Like, we know what it is. Like, you feel me? All right, cool.
I mean, I feel like y'all gonna call us that anyway, so I might as well make a joke out of it. You gotta have some really thick skin to sign yourself up for TV. So basically lemonade from lemons, so I'm not toxic. I know who I am. I have issues just like everybody else, but toxic ain't one of them. So it's just all in good fun, guys. It really is.
Yeah.
So where did you come up with the name the Toxic Twins?
I mean, again, it's just one of those things. It's not like like Morgan just said, piggybacking off of her, you guys are going to create your own things anyway, which, that's kind of what's happening. So you guys get an opportunity to now ask everything you want tonight.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So Toxic Twins isn't a name that's like sticking. It was just something that we came up off of a whim, because we usually go by the bells of the ball. But, since all these comments have been hinting towards toxic, we just decided to have a little fun with you tonight. But that is not a trademark that we're doing here. No.
Correct.
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying.
So hold on. You don't think you're toxic, but she wanted to lean into the Toxic Twins particular marketing. So the reason why you got called Toxic Twins, because people think you're toxic. And then you thought by you leaning into the Toxic Twins name, it's going to help you. You know what I mean? Like, you're creating your own negative feedback loop, So you want me to then be like, well, they're not actually toxic. You're not actually toxic, because the Toxic Twins name is clearly not real. Like the Toxic Twins name is clearly just you joking around. When we already think you're toxic, that's why you got given a name. So you're going to lean into the name that's going to then represent the very thing that you don't want it to represent. Think about it. It sounds cute as a marketing ploy, but it further enhances people's mindset towards you. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to change it. It's like if you can't beat them, join them. But in this situation, no, you don't want to join us. You don't believe that. We don't believe you're toxic. You know? So anyway.
They done came up with this name, Toxic Twins. That sounds like a new YouTube channel about to start. That sounds like a new podcast. That sounds like a new TV show. I mean, honey, I feel like this. That's what it sounds like. And maybe the universe is telling me something. And like you ladies said, maybe I need to capitalize off of it. So maybe that's the universe showing y'all like I'm putting a bug in your ear. You know what I mean? So that's just something for me to throw out there to you. You know what I'm saying? Would you say lemons to lemonade? Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
So my very first question I have is for Jeffri. Okay. So one of the questions is did Andre know about your children and that the fathers were not in their lives during the show? Because we saw on the reunion, it was kind of like he knew nothing about them. Yeah. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, of course. I mean, as you guys can see, if you guys have heard me or Dre talk about each other on an interview, which we have not talked really the whole, we haven't been doing interviews. And Dre's always spoke very positively about me in this current life. And there's a reason for that. Not only Dre, but everyone knew the story. I mean, I love my kids. So I know like a lot of people isn't used to people talking about their kids 24/7, but I love my baby. So every chance I got, I spoke about them. I went into detail, even for the point when I decided not to bring an ex. I actually had a friend that the network flown in, a male friend, to speak for me, but they decided they didn't, you just had to have someone like an ex to come. So in the scene that you guys see, Dre sitting with my sister, everything was fully explained there and before. That's why you see my sister saying like, it's one thing for you to see yourself in it, but do you, saying that you're fine with it, but do you see yourself in it? And I remember him saying like, well, yeah, like tell me a little bit more about the fathers. And she goes over everything, which it's very serious story. Like the story behind the fathers and my kids is very serious. And I think just the network just didn't want to put that out. So that's, you guys didn't get to see it, but Dre took all of that and he came back with, you know what? Thank you. Like, this is who I'm picking. This is who I'm with. I don't care about your past. So when you guys hear me saying at the reunion, it was like night and day. He just completely switched up. That is literally facts. Like I am the sweetest, most honest, straightforward. And even my sister can confirm. I even talked more in detail about the fathers at the reunion, which everyone knew. Everyone on this cast knows. Shout out to Lyndon and Tony, which is why they defend me, because it's like everyone knows this thing. But,
Wait. Okay. First and foremost, let's be honest, right? I definitely believe that Andre had enough information, right? So he don't get a pass from me, right? Let me be very real, okay? So Andre don't get no pass, yeah? So that's the 100% truth, okay? And so I'm not against her on that Andre aspect. He has to hold that L because he decided to try and do a U-turn, which nobody asked for. Now, this situation of her saying, I'm so sweet, and I'm like, babe, you haven't shown us that you're so sweet though, right? The sweet voice, yes, but the actions aren't necessarily sweet. The way you treated Blake, the way you even came at even Simone, was that actually sweet? That wasn't you being sweet. You know what I mean? That wasn't her being sweet, right? And then to go and say, obviously, that's why Lyndon and Tony defend her. I didn't know that Tony was defending her. I didn't realize Tony was defending her. Okay? I didn't realize Tony was defending her. If I remember correctly on the reunion, did he not say, listen, you shouldn't say what you said about black baby dads? I'm so confused as to where he's defending her. Maybe he came out and posted and said she's really a sweet person. Maybe that's what he meant. Right? Maybe he came out and said she's a sweet person. I didn't know Lyndon was defending her. When did he defend her? I'm not sure when they defended her. I'm so confused. When did they defend her? Did I miss the memo? Maybe I did. Maybe I missed a post and Instagram live, because I don't remember them defending her. But maybe they said it on somebody's interview. Maybe Tony said it on an interview. Maybe Lyndon said it on an interview. I don't know. Okay. But at the reunion, I don't remember that. Now maybe changed their tone since been on interviews. Maybe that's what it is, right? So maybe that's what they're talking about. But yeah. I would say that's what I would say about that situation.
So I don't look for anyone to stand up for me, to speak for me. I'm truly a woman of God. So eventually, so I'm not going to fight with people about you know, or give information. But I think that you guys deserve to at least know that, like, he had everything he needed to know. So at the point of meeting my sister and having deep detail, if there was any concerns for him, the finale, you had an opportunity to choose yourself or choose that person. So it really didn't make any sense.
It did.
And don't forget, let's not forget, let's not forget, this is the same woman that was telling us, but I get chose. So many men choose me. Do they choose you? You know what I mean? Let's not forget, that was the same person telling us that you don't even get chose, but she get chose. And I'm doing the action because that's how it was like. It was like, I get chose. Do you get chose? And let's not forget that energy. So this whole I'm sweet, are we forgetting how quickly it turned when you did that interview and I did a whole review about it? And you were quick to tell everybody else that I get chose, but do you get chose? That wasn't sweet, darling. Yeah, you weren't so sweet. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, you are not the definition of what I would call as someone being sweet. If we're gonna talk about someone being more sweet, I would think of somebody like Mercedes being sweet. But you, no offense, but you ain't sweet, right? That's not what you are. You know, I don't even call myself sweet. I'm nowhere near sweet. You know what I mean? I'm a bit rough around the edges. Okay, I'm a bit calculated. You know what I mean? I'll be a little bit hot-headed at times. I ain't sweet. You know what I mean? So this whole trying to plant your idea to us that you are a certain way, when the reality is, baby, you ain't sweet. You ain't. You know, and that's okay. It's like saying salt is sweet. It's not. It's salty. It is what it is. Okay. All right. Let's not call things that aren't is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rewriting history. But let's not forget, you were talking about how other people, they ain't got no mans and that they don't get chosen. And remember, you were saying that that's why the men choose me. Darling, who chose you on the show? Andre chose you and still left. You are in the same boat as all of us. Yeah? Come and join us, darling. Come and sit down on this bench. You are telling us that you get chosen by the men's on the show. Which men's have chosen you now? Which men's? Come and tell us what men's. The guy that chose you, he chose Mercedes. The other guy also ditched you after lying and telling us he didn't know about the kid situation. Which one? Which one? Which one? Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't like that energy. You get what I'm saying? You know, I don't like that.
Didn't make sense to us either, because I know I said in my lives, like, hi, everybody know, the whole world knows about her and her kids. And, like,
I think he wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready, bottom line. And you know, you don't have to try to find a reason. Just stand on your stuff. You weren't ready. You don't have to look for something. You don't have to make anything up. He's never talked to my children's fathers. He's never gotten anything. I'll never forget me and him going to dinner and I'm opening up my phone saying, hey, take my phone. Look, like, that's how much I cared about Dre. I wanted him to have everything he needed. And I was like, hey, take my phone, like, go through everything, see me reaching out, see me showing up, doing, and no, you know, these guys can't even take a FaceTime with their kids. And he's looking at all this information. He's like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about any of that. So get to the reunion and it's a whole nother story. So
yeah, understood. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, sure.
Morgan, do you feel like Blake deserves an apology, and do you feel bad for calling him a cancer?
No. I'm not sorry. I don't have a problem with Blake. Let me just put that out there. Now we've made amends before we were even done with the show. At the time, that's how I felt, and I'm gonna stand on that. So my problem with
here's my thing, right? It's so interesting, right? She says she has no apology for Blake, Morgan. All right, cool. So why do you have one for Natasha? I don't get it. Why do you have one for Natasha? Right? Because the reason why you're not apologizing is because what you said, right? You meant what you said to Natasha. Let's not lie. When you were saying that you're better than her, you meant what you said, right? When you thought that she wasn't all that pretty, you meant what you said. You know what I'm saying? Like, later on in the interview, she goes on and she says, you know, I want to take the time again to apologize once again to Natasha. For what? What are you apologizing for? It doesn't even make sense. Deep it, yeah, that she actually said, and if you watch the interview, I'm going to tell you some things that she said already, all right? On the interview, she said already that, hey, look, I wasn't the first person on camera to talk about Natasha sleeping with Tony. Someone had already said it. So what the heck are you apologizing for? Why are you apologizing to Natasha? No, let's deep it. If you weren't the first person to talk about Natasha, and you meant, and listen, of course, you're going to say you probably didn't mean what you said. You meant what you said. You did, right? When you said you thought you were better looking and you were better than her, you meant what you said. You weren't saying it half-heartedly. You were saying it with full vim. You knew what you were saying. So why apologize to Natasha? Right? Exactly, Maggie. And she's now cool with Blake. So why not apologize? Well, she's gonna explain a bit of what Blake did to her, so she's gonna tell us why.
What Blake was this? Let's back it up to the mixer.
Okay.
I mentioned it at the dinner. I don't think you all got the full story of it. But when I first met Blake at the mixer, it was very quick introduction. He said he had 3 kids and he didn't want any more kids. And I said, okay, nice to meet you. Moving right along. Well, I feel like he took that instance and used it. He tried to weaponize me wanting kids as to he equated it to me not being happy. I won't be able to be happy until I have children. He began to tell the male members, Morgan doesn't want a man, she just wants kids. He made some kind of silly reference to what happens when I'm 50 years old and I don't have a husband yet. Am I going to be done with having kids then? Just something real ridiculous. And then, you know, basically how he handled me that night. And then a couple times moving forward, I heard him saying it in the gentleman's lounge that I didn't want a man, which is not true. For the record, let's just be clear. If I wanted to have somebody, baby, by now.
How does she hear in the men's lounge that she didn't want to have kids? How does she hear that? How does she hear that? Right? How does she hear that? You know what I mean? Someone snitched and told you. So, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't hear that. You got told that, which is a clear distinction between the two. We have to distinguish between the two. So, but it's true. It was on camera. So
I could have, sweetheart. So I'm big on marriage. I'm big on a family. I was raised in a 2-parent home. My parents have been married for 39 years. I'm super proud of them. So the whole concept of me wanting a kid and not the man is ridiculous. Furthermore,
let's pause there. That's important information. Her parents have been married 39 years. Shout out to her parents, first and foremost. Number 2, 39 years married. Let's just suppose they're happy. What the frick happened between there and her growing up? What the hell happened? We need to know. Because if they've been married happily for 39 years, something is afoot and amiss. Because the way your behavior is unaccountable, Morgan, something has happened in that childhood that's got you to this place, right? Someone doesn't just pick up their mat and suddenly become this mad person, you know. So something's happened. We need to find out. We don't necessarily need to find out, but you know, she needs to find out what necessarily happened. This is why we need to go deeper. This is why we have to be able to ask your background and where you're coming from and what you've experienced, because we don't get it. For you to tell me your parents have been married for 39 years, well done. Congratulations on your parents as well, because we appreciate long-term marriages. But 39 years and you grew up in a loving, quote unquote, let's say if you did grow up in a loving home, this will not produce the kind of child that you are. It will not produce the kind of daughter that you are. It will not produce an unaccountable person who does stuff to people and says they deserve it and vengeance is mine. You know what I mean? Something else is working beneath the surface.
I didn't like what was going on between him and the women. I believe Jeffri because I was right there on the phone with her when it happened. So yes, I believed her. So if everyone wants to know why I was going so hard for her, is because I believed her.
Wait, pause. Morgan is telling us right now she was right next to Jeffri on the phone when it happened. I'm gonna need Morgan to confirm that again. I want to know exactly what she said, what she heard. I want to know exactly what she heard. Right? I want to know exactly what you heard, because I don't believe in people when they say straight away. So I want to know exactly what you heard. Right? I want to know exactly what you heard. Why was you right next to her when you're having a conversation? Why would you know what I mean? Let's just roll that back real quick.
Going on between him and the women. I believe Jeffri because I was right there on the phone with her when it happened. So yes, I believed her. So if everyone wants to know why I was going so hard for her, is because I believed her. I didn't like that Blake. I felt like he was toying with those women. I do. He showed up to the boat with two matching gifts for two of the women. I mean, you know, to each his own. But I don't want no gift that you just done gave to, you know, to two of us. He body shamed a cast member, and that was kind of well known throughout. He had some negative things to say about one of the females. And furthermore, nothing that I said wasn't taking place either in the women's lounge or in our group chat. I'm just the only one bold enough to say it. So you guys have nominated me to be this negative whatever person, but trust and believe that there was context behind that conversation.
Every woman on the
it was everything was already said.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's not every woman, because when we come to people's interviews, listen, they haven't said the same thing. You know, we come to these interviews, we haven't heard the same thing from women, right? We haven't heard the same thing about Blake from women, right? What, the same thing that Jonique came out and said, that what you basically fed her information before she even knew, right? What's the worst that we've heard? I interviewed him and I was like, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's harmless. I'm just saying that he can say some things very direct. But I'm waiting for the women that were saying things about him. You know, I'm waiting for the only two people who have really spoken about his behavior has been them two. That's a very good point, Elena. That's a very good point, Elena. I didn't even pick up on that. Good picking up on the wording. She wouldn't have to say, I believed her if she was there. You would say, I know it's true because I overheard the conversation. Very true. Very, very true. Very, very true. Yeah. I definitely hear what you're saying. I think, it's a good spot there. Very good spot what you've brought up there. The wording is very key. So, you know, she might not have overheard it. She might have just been there, but she never overheard the conversation. Do you know what I mean? Right? Okay. Good points there. I like that.
They just never showed anybody else saying it. They just showed me. Oh, and the reason I came with so much energy, a negative energy with Blake, is because early on, they tried to get me going on a date with him. And I said, if this is with Blue or Blake, I'm not going. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my outfit. So I sat in the car because apparently it was with one of them. So I sat in the car. I had to wait for another event. I sat in the car for 2 hours. I'm like, well, I guess that was Blake or Blue. I never knew. So fast forward to after the group dinner, when I said, I felt I'm going to go ahead and rock with my friend on this one. I'm going to stick beside her because I believe that you told her you didn't care about anybody here for real. Yeah, so they snuck that date up on me, Sabrina. They said, Morgan, you got a date. And I said, with who? And they wouldn't tell me. And I got there. And that's how you know. That's how you know it was a big deal, because Anthony, the head producer, was there. He was like, Morgan, I only need you to go in there and discuss the conversation. You don't. I'm like, Anthony, why are you doing this to me? I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to be here. I can't stand that man. So he insisted that I had the conversation.
So production obviously insisted the conversation happened between the two of them, right? So production's the one that forced the situation. Let's be honest. That's what it is. So yeah, I get that. You know, it's straight. You know, it's straight, obviously, as well, that you know, this was a setup. We knew that already. But again, Morgan's acting as if she didn't have a choice to say what she needs to say. You don't like somebody, you don't have to say anything. You gave them what you gave them. Right? You gave them what you gave them. So, you know, this is, again, you're not going to be unaccountable for the situation. You gave them what you gave them.
So
I said, I love Anthony. Yeah.
Look, I love Anthony too. I love Anthony too, but that's why he was there, because he knew I did not want to go on that date. So they miking me up and I'm like, I just want you to, I said, the crew, I just want y'all to go ahead and thank me in advance, because this is going to be a real short work day for you all. So it really wasn't nothing to be said to Blake. Again, he and I have made amends. We were cool by the mansion, and yeah. Okay, maybe should I say I was sorry for calling that man a Cancer? I guess I could have. I mean, he said it about Jeffri. Didn't he say?
So now you're gonna deflect a whole. Instead of just saying sorry, you're going to deflect. Come on. You going, instead of you just saying you're sorry, you said, I guess I could have said sorry. Like, there's too much pride, babe. There's too much pride. And that's scary, because even later on, when they ask her about the near situation, she's like, I think I apologized. I'm not sure. You think you apologized? You think?
That your lies were spreading like a cancer or something, right? So again, it's just more so, let's make Morgan the villain, because he said it, and then I basically backfired on him, and then it was so. I mean, I'm sorry if I hurt you guys' feelings. I won't say it again.
See, that's how I know you're not sorry. See, that's how I know you. That's how I know you're not sorry. When you start to do that, when you start saying, "I'm sorry I hurt you guys' feelings," I won't say it again. You're now taking the mick out of us now at this point, right? Because why are we catching strays with your sarcasm? Why are we catching strays? Right? When they held you to account to apologize to Natasha, this sarcasm wasn't in your voice. The sarcasm wasn't in your tone. The sarcasm wasn't in your apology. So why is it now, when we're asking you to be accountable in this moment, now you want to get sarcastic? Why? Let's really deep that. Right? Why are you showing contempt for the audience now? Because they're holding you accountable for the way that you've dealt with Blake's situation, because you believe that he deserves it. You believe you're justified in your actions towards him, and he deserves everything he got. But because you couldn't make a strong enough argument, you tried to make a pivot. Okay, you tried to make a pivot, and you tried to then switch it by going on and saying that actually, you know what? Didn't he call you a cancer, Jeffri, first? And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, and so what if he called her a cancer? We're talking about you. You know? Sorry.
Do you really mean that apology?
I mean, I feel like
I have to ask y'all, because they like, she ain't for real. You got to let them know, Morgan, because the way that.
I mean, I said I wasn't going to say it again. That's the best that I can, at the moment. I can't apologize for something that I said. I either got to own it, stand by it, or apologize. And in that specific moment, that's how I felt. So,
yeah.
Sorry if y'all don't agree with the way that I felt. So
yeah. Jeffri, what were you about to say? I'm sorry.
But I meant what I said. I won't say it again. I will give y'all that. I won't say it again. Okay, people? I won't say it again.
Thank you, Morgan.
But why wouldn't you say it again? Why would you say it again? If you don't believe you did anything wrong, why would you not say it again? If you didn't do anything wrong, why would you say it again? Right? If you didn't do anything wrong, right? Let's why bother apologize? You didn't do anything wrong, so why would you not say it again? Do you get what I'm saying to you? Now, the only reason why you're not going to say it again is because you know you're wrong. Just apologize and be done. Have humility. Apologize. Be done. Move forward. Instead, you won't. This behavior is concerning. Lack of accountability, but also a lack of a humility as well. Right?
I was just going to say, yeah, like, you guys hear the most from me, and I've always given an open standpoint of communication. And that's why you guys see, you know, to go back to Blake on the boat, I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, because I had already told him on the boat, I'm like, look, Blake, I don't like that. Like, it's giving me PTSD from my ex. Don't tell me I'm the one, and then I don't like no. Like, so I'm like, you got to match up, you know?
Okay, so listen to what she just said. Listen to what she just said. If I said to you, oh, I think you're the one, a bit like how Tyrone did last few seasons ago, right? He thinks you're the one. How does that limit? So you projected in that moment to make it more than what it was. Let's say you're true. Let's say she's telling the truth all the way through, and Blake said to her, you know what? I think you're the one, right? And she comes out and be like, you're a narcissist, you're controlling, you're this. Well, clearly you projected because you just told us it reminds you of your ex. It's not that I'm controlling. It's the fact you're projecting whatever pain you have in the past onto me. So yes, you should give me an apology because really and truly, you've exaggerated what's happened based upon what you felt. Right? You've exaggerated the situation. Right? Let's just listen one more time just to kind of get back to what she was kind of saying there, right?
What's wrong? Like, because I had already told him on the phone, I'm like, look, Blake, I don't like that. Like, it's giving me PTSD from my ex. Don't tell me I'm the one and then I don't like no. Like, so I'm like, you got to match up, you know? Mm-hmm. So I didn't understand why he wanted to furthermore talk about it. But yeah, Blake, like, I just feel like it's blown up more than what it is. And every single lady.
Blown up more than what it is. But a minute ago, you would, oh my days. If it's blown up more than what it is, why have you allowed Morgan to call him a malignant cancer? Why haven't you said, listen, you know what? What Morgan said, I don't agree with it. Right? So why are we saying it's not that it's been blown out of proportion? You were calling him a cancer. You call him a cancer. You call him a narcissist. How is it not going to be blown up? You know what I mean? Are you forgetting what you said? Are you forgetting how you labeled him? Are you forgetting how you called him out in the women's lounge? Are you forgetting?
On his past has had negative things to say about him. It's just they highlighted Morgan. Blake was trying to stay in my room at the getaway. Like, Dre had to force him. Dre had to come get his bags. Blake was like laying on my bed. He was like, I'm staying in here with her. Dre was like, get your bags, get out. He was like, no, let me stay like the first night. Dre was like, no.
So Blake wanted to stay in your room. No. Let's just make this very, very clear because I believe the semantics are getting played here. So I want to make it very clear. So Blake saw you in a room, yeah, and he was serious. Okay, he was serious about him lying on your bed and then telling you and saying, right, that he isn't going to be moved. I'm not going to be moved. And to the point that Dre had to come in on a serious note and pull him out the room. Was that a serious situation or was that a jokey situation? Let's say you're telling the truth. Was it seriously a serious situation or was it a joking situation? That's the question we're asking. Yeah. So if that's the case, if Drake had to come, if Drake had to come in there and pull him out the room on a serious note, right? Then why are you saying just a few seconds ago it's blown out of proportion? Then it should be where it is, and it's exactly where it needs to be. He's a problem, right? It would have been a problem, right? More than likely, love. This is probably what it is. He probably wanted a room, and that's where she's trying to extend the conversation. And that's what I'm saying about this delusion, the willingness to stretch a story to make it fit a narrative. My God, y'all be stretching.
He had to force him. Like, he wanted to stay with me. He didn't want to go and stay with Sue in the bunk beds. He wanted to stay in there. And I'm like, Blake, like, you give them an inch, they take a mile. Like,
so he wanted to stay with you. So Blake wanted to come into your room to stay with you. Then you had to tell him, Blake, you give him an inch, they take a mile, she said. So he wanted to stay with you, babe. He didn't want to be in a room with Sue-Ann. He wanted to be in a room with you on a serious note. Okay. 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 All right.
You know, I know we were cool.
Not the bunk bed. No. Not the bunk beds, Jeffrey. I can't stand it.
You're too big to be sleeping on anybody's bunk bed, first of all. Oh my God. Oh.
It felt like we were legit cool. Like, he loved me for it. We were all having fun, you know, especially leading up to the getaway. And he was like, this is the fun place. Like, I'm going to be here with her. Dre was like, get your box and get out.
And see, these storytellings are a problem because they tell it in a way that's very dangerous. Like literally, it's a very like if they were joking and you turned it into a more serious situation, just like when she posted up Blue and Blake onto her page. It's scary to see this kind of behavior. It's scary to see this level of delusion. It's scary, right? It's scary. Like to have it that way. Like, why would you do that? You know? Why are we making those kind of statements? Again, it insinuates such bad behavior on Blake's part that he wants to be literally in a room, okay, and be there because of you.
I have so many.
Yeah, by the time we got to the,
but these are not my questions. I have so many
by the time we got to the mansion, Blake and I were cool. We were hugged up, laughing. I just kept saying, oh, you know what? I did tell him I was sorry. I said, I'm sorry for what I said about you in the confessional. So yeah, I apologize. But yeah, by the time we got to the mansion, it was all cool, taking pictures. We was hanging out.
I mean, she kind of apologized. She apologized in her own way. Because I remember I asked Blake that question, did she apologize? He said she apologized in her own way. So it wasn't necessarily an apology, but it was apology in her own way, which means it probably wasn't an apology. Right? You know, it's an apology in a particular way. You know what I mean? So yeah, So again, if you couldn't remember that you apologized, more than likely you didn't apologize. If you're struggling to remember if you apologize to somebody and that offended somebody, you probably didn't apologize. Right? Come on.
Making drinks, like, no, me and Blake are cool.
Yeah,
I just didn't like what he was doing at that moment.
Yeah, we did see y'all cool at the getaway. And I was like, okay, they're cool because y'all was taking like selfies and stuff like that. So we were like, okay, so.
Right.
So just to let you guys know in the chat, like I see some questions popping up, but just to let you know, in order for your questions to get on the screen, it's going to have to be a super chat. So my next question is actually going to be to Jeffri. And since this question is a super chat and it is to Jeffri, I'm going to ask the question. So another round would like to know, Jeffri, when did Andre make the comment you stated on the reunion paraphrase? How can we parent our children if I'm being a stepfather to your children? Sure.
That was one of his after the show. This dinner that we went to was about 2 weeks after the show, because actually 2 days after we filmed, Dre got on an airplane and went to Colombia for 2 weeks. Immediately after filming. So after he came back, we went to dinner, and that was one of his things. He was like, you know, Dre is ready to have a kid like yesterday, and he was like, listen, that's one of the things. Like, he's like, I know it sounds selfish, but like, I want to have a kid, and like, if we're together, I'm gonna have to focus on being a stepdad to your kids before we have our kid. And like, I knew that wasn't right. I remember telling Morgan, she was like, no, like, it's just it doesn't sound right. You know, and how we ended up partying, like after I opened up my phone and I showed Dre everything, and he's like, I don't care about your past. I remember calling my sister crying. I'm like, listen, I showed him everything. And she was like, this doesn't feel right. It feels like he's like praying. Like, it's like no one should emotionally make someone go through all of that. It's like, I told him that night, I was like, it feels like you're looking for something wrong. Like, I feel like you're forcing me. Like, over time, I will tell you different things, but you can't sit me down and say, tell me everything you've ever been through since you were a kid right now. Like, he wanted me to do everything that night. And I'm like, whoa. Like,
and that's a fair point. Listen, about Andre, I already said this previously, and I think this was pretty much confirmed. Andre wants to let you go deep, but he's not necessarily going deep with you. He's not deep diving. He's not deep diving per se. So if he was here, I would say the same thing. Like, you know, he wants you to deep dive because it makes him feel safe when you are the one releasing the information. But he himself doesn't necessarily release that information to you. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's calculated. He's making sure that you commit yourself, but he ain't committing. Right? He'll make sure that you commit, but he ain't committing. So you're releasing information, but he ain't releasing information. Right? So interesting way of doing it.
Let me gradually, like, for example, with Mark, I told Mark first about my Crohn's because we had a natural he never was like, tell me these things, Jeffri, right now. He didn't care. And like, if you're the new sheriff in town, why are you so focused on the fathers of my kids and what happened in the relationship? Like, he was focused on the relationship. Why did we break up? Like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk. What? Like, so it was so much, but I did give him that information because I cared about him. So I did. I don't delete anything. So I went back years ago to show him like things because that's how much I cared about him. And the way we ended that dinner, which is basically him saying, you know what, I don't care about your past. Of course, it's before the reunion. So this might have been like, I don't know, the end of August, maybe 2 weeks after we wrapped the show. And he was like, I don't care about your past, but listen, I'm not ready to be like exclusive. Let's just take our time. Like, we don't need to tell people what we're doing. And over time, I'm too old for this. Like, we didn't just finish a show.
Man said, oh my days. Man said, listen, let's just take our time. Basically, yeah, he wasn't involved. Right? That language is somebody who's not involved. Let's just slow it down. Oh crap. Let's just slow it down. Let's just take our time. Let's just, let's not rush things. Yeah, brother. That's the language of somebody who's not serious. Okay? They're not serious. It's that simple. They're not serious. They're not serious at all. You're not serious at all. So that's when you slow things down and you realize, okay, yeah, he was playing too. All right. He was playing too. Yeah.
Become one and, say all those beautiful things to each other to then say, oh, let's just slow down. Slow down on what? Like, let's date. Like, what is it? Like, it just, bottom line is Dre just wanted to find out, like, what you guys hear me saying at the reunion, because I was completely shocked. So I didn't get where he got the father's keeping from the kid thing from, because where is that information? If this is an assumption in his head. If anything, Dre told me, hey, you need to put that man on child support. Like, that's the real. He's like, what are you doing? You're not even, like, when I showed him everything that I've gone through, which I won't say certain things because of respect out of my kids. But he just, if anything, that's the information he gave me. So it was just kind of, we didn't talk after that. And I think like a week before the reunion, he sent me a text saying, hi, Jeffri. And I just didn't answer because I felt like, wait, why are you reaching out a week before the reunion? Like, we haven't been talking. And I'm like, I think it made me feel like, oh, you're trying to, maybe smooth things over. So by the time we get to the reunion, I won't tell what. So
they both were ghosting each other then, because right then she just said, right, when he just said, obviously, we haven't been talking. We haven't been talking, which means both of y'all were ghosting each other. Right? Because he reached out to you and he said, you just said, why has he reached out to me when he knows that we haven't been speaking? Which means both of you are speaking, which is, why are you saying that he's been airing you? Why are you saying that he's the one that's been airing you? Why is he saying that you've been airing him? Both of you haven't been speaking to each other. Why are both of you trying to spin a narrative? Right? So both of you have been playing a narrative, trying to spin it in your direction. The reality is, both of you have been ignoring each other. Right? So
Child, I got so many questions. Okay, all right. So thank you for that super chat. Another round. Morgan. So many are saying that you wanted to change the narrative about how you were portrayed on the show, and that's why you apologized to Natasha. Did you really mean the apology towards Natasha that you did on your Instagram page?
I just want everyone to know one thing about me. Good or bad, right or wrong, I'm going to always own up to who I am. That never changed. If I'm wrong about something, I can admit I'm wrong. Yeah. And if I'm right, then it's going to take a lot to convince me that I'm not right. When it comes to what I said about Natasha, it was horrifying to watch myself talk about her like that. Honestly, truly, I can handle a lot of the negative comments. That week I couldn't. I was really emotional and disappointed in myself. And for that, Natasha, I'm just so sorry. You didn't deserve that from me. I don't know what got into me. I think it was, like I said on my apology, like just emotions. I was going through so much with Tony, and it was just like one thing after the next, one thing after the next. Now, mind you, we had just came back from the mansion where he just embarrassed me in front of everybody. And I am petty, so a part of me wanted to embarrass him too, but I directed it way too much at Natasha. And for that, I am truly sorry. You don't have to never worry about me saying sorry if I'm not sorry. But yeah, a lot of the other weeks, most of the other weeks, I can handle it. I got pretty thick skin. It's one thing when people are saying something about me that's not true. I can laugh about it. But it's another thing when people are seeing a side of me that I'm not proud of. So that one was really hard for me. And again, Natasha.
Again, I don't get this apology. Why is she apologizing? I don't get the purpose of the apology. Right? I don't get the, the apology. Why are you apologizing? Because you, like I said, later on, she's going to tell us. Everyone was saying it on camera already. She wasn't the first person. Therefore, you're not sorry. I just understand. You said what you said because you're not the first time somebody said it. You said that, you wanted to get back at Tony. Like, like, what are you sorry for? Why do you feel bad about this? Like, I don't get. I'm saying it in the sense of like, I'm saying it in the sense of like, you said what you said, right? It's not deep. It's not deep. It's not any deeper than what you were saying about Blake. Ain't any deeper than what you said to Marcia. Ain't no deeper than what you were saying to Mark Anthony. Ain't no deeper, than anybody you've cussed out on this in this show on the course of the season. I don't get it. But hey, Flo.
I'm truly sorry, and I hope you forgive me.
Respect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Jeffri. Andre said in one of the scenes, he was like, I saw Jeffri kids before. I've seen the kids. Did he actually meet your kids, or did he see them like in a picture?
And the reason why I'm saying that I don't get this apology, because when you were out here telling us about Marcia, saying she was a distraction, you happily were cussing out Marcia, saying she was a distraction, and didn't want to take it back and wanted to continue on with you're a distraction. Tony did, and she told you, I don't like that being called a distraction, but you're not apologizing for that. Why are you apologizing? What is the real motive behind the apology? What is the real motive? That's what I want to know. There's a real motive behind it. I want to get behind it. There's a real motive behind it. Interesting.
Picture, like, did he spend time with them? Was he ever around them?
Yeah, so no, I mean, Dre's never met my kids. He saw them on the phone. He's seen several pictures of the kids. No man is meeting my children unless I know that's my husband. Like, I can't take that risk. It was already a big enough risk, me going on national TV and my 14-year-old watching the show and then seeing, celebrating for her mommy and then seeing the reunion. So that's an example as to why I'm very, very, very hesitant, which is why I took my time on the show. I wasn't like the first guy when he tells me everything I want to hear, and just say, no, I'm going to take my time, and you date properly. So, no, Dre's seen pictures of my children, but never has he met them. No.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's African Assertan. That's exactly the point I was thinking of. That the reason why she's apologizing is because it's woman on woman, and the show is predominantly a woman's show. If Carlos King does a show, it's predominantly women based. When he's doing a show, it's not male based. And even the near situation, as much as people have said it's crazy, if it had been a woman to a woman, it would have been 10 times worse. Because it's a woman to a man, people can kind of brush past it, which is slightly what me and Sean were talking about I think last week when we spoke about this issue of Morgan, that it gets downplayed because when a woman does it to a man, it's like, well, there's an explanation. If it's woman to woman, it's like, well, no, there's no explanation. That's just disgusting. That's just, how could you? And that's how they treated the Natasha situation. And I was like, well, that was very interesting because the way she came at the Natasha situation, right? Calling her out and all that kind of stuff and saying she looks better than her, etc., etc. The audience did turn. They really did turn. They were like, whoa, this is disgusting. How can she be like this, cussing her out? The audience really did turn on that situation. They didn't turn when it came to the Blake situation. Right? If anything, had people that were defending it. Like, oh, he must be, you don't see what we see, da-da-da. So interesting.
And when you said that you needed to talk to Tony 6 weeks ago, a lot of people are saying that, or was thinking you were pregnant. Was that true?
So the reason that the 6 weeks even came up, Tony and it was time for our segment, and Tommy asked Tony, where y'all with it?
Mhm.
And Tony tells Tommy, well, I haven't spoken to Morgan in 6 weeks. And I looked at him and I said, oh, you've been counting. And he said, yeah, you know, we got into some things. Him and I got into a really heated debate. I was going through a lot at the time, and he was just nowhere to be found. And I really needed him, even if it was just a shoulder to cry on, whatever, you know, I needed him and he wasn't there. So when you saw me walk away, that's where the whole 6 weeks came from, which is I needed to talk to you 6 weeks. And we hadn't spoken because I had blocked them. So right. Production know what they're doing. They purposely left out where the.
Wait, you needed me to speak to you 6 weeks ago, but you blocked me. So you needed me to speak 6 weeks ago. I ain't spoke to you, but you blocked me in between the time too. Anyway, say nada.
6 weeks even came from. So yeah, he definitely said he hadn't spoken to me in 6 weeks, and that's why I slammed the door on him and said I needed to talk to you 6 weeks ago.
Child, everybody was like, she pregnant. I said, well, I'm gonna ask her. You gonna hear from the horse's mouth.
Say what they're gonna say. Right.
So now everybody can kill that assumption.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Jeffri. And this is a little touchy, so it's entirely up to you if you want to answer this or not. But you did tell Andre about.
I know Jeffrey's back is hurting, sitting in that position that she's sitting in, baby.
About your illness, and or no, you told Mark Anthony about your illness. A lot of people are wondering, did you tell Andre about it? Did Andre know? Like, did y'all have a discussion about it?
Yeah, we talked about it off camera. Me and Drake. Yeah.
Okay, well, there y'all go. Okay, because Andre was acting like, and this is not me, acting like he just didn't know a lot of stuff. I was like, how's she gonna tell that? Like, that's another question. I'm just gonna wait. Let me keep my.
Well, I will say to that, follow. You're truly watching the same show that me and Morgan has watched. I have all these pretty heavy titles coming from Andre. I'm a saint, queen, wife, empress. I feel like for people to receive those kinds of titles, there's a very big reason. Dre had everything he needed to know, even me personally opening up a diary basically and saying dinner. But I will never do that again. I will tell you that, because I should not have to do that. Everything needs to flow organically. I don't need to sit down in 24 hours or 3 hours and go over every single thing that's ever taken place in my life just to date someone. No.
Understood. Morgan, when you brought up Natasha to Tony over lunch that you guys were having, it was said it had already been handled between you and Tony, like y'all talked about it off screen. So why did you feel the need to bring it up on screen?
Because Natasha had already told the producers that it had happened.
So Morgan's telling us that, listen, Natasha already told the producers that her and Tony had slept together. This is where it gets tasty. You know, and obviously when we heard Natasha's explanation, she denied it, but kind of said it on Sabrina's thing. She denied it, but the way she explained it, she kind of did say to the producers that they slept together, or at least she didn't deny, right? So in a sense, she did, in a sense, kind of say it, okay? You know, like in that sense, you know, like she did kind of say it.
And I didn't hear that word of mouth. I mean, I didn't hear that from the horse's mouth, so I could be wrong. But the news was circling, and it didn't just come from Tony, which was she had told the producers, and she was planning on dropping the bomb at the reunion. I wanted to get ahead of the fire, which was, I knew this was all going on. So by the time that we got to the reunion, wouldn't be any surprises on my end. That's why I say I'll be.
So basically, Morgan literally blew up Natasha's spot because she didn't want to get her spot blown up. That's essentially what happened. Morgan was like, oh, you told producers that you slept with my man? Yeah, I'm going to blow up your spot before you blow up mine. Yeah? I'm going to blow up your spot before you blow up mine. Yeah? Simple as. This is it. Right? That's all it was. You wanted to blow her up okay, before she blew you up. That's why everything you said came out the way it did, because you were blowing up her spot. You were destroying it.
The last one may look like a fool, but it still ended up looking that way. Anyway, so yeah, I was just trying to get ahead of the bomb dropper that was going to take place at the reunion, and I wanted it to be known that I knew.
Right.
And this is why I said I don't know why she apologized, because everything she said, she meant it. She should have held it down. She meant every single word. She thinks she's better looking than her. She thinks she's better than her. She thinks it's low hanging fruit. She meant every word she said. That's why I didn't get why she apologized. And that's why I said there's a deeper reason why you apologize. It's PR. It's you thinking about your show in the future. It's you thinking about your TV career. It's you thinking about a black female audience. But let's be freaking real. Baby, you hit her up with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combo and let her know what time it was. All right. So listen, there's no point apologizing. You meant what you said, baby. You should just held it down. The same way you held it down with Blake. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew what she said to Blake was bad, it was off point, but you still said it and you ain't apologized. I think you should have held it down the same way. I think you should have said what you said. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said you running back on what you said, You're not said what you said. You know what I mean? You're not said what you said. You pretending you said what you said. You ain't said what you said. You know what I mean?
You know that Natasha has been on my channel and has been on other channels and stated that she did not tell the producers. She's saying it was not her. Period.
Well, a couple of male and female cast members had confirmed at that point. And again, not that it excuses my behavior at all, but y'all gonna kill me for this. I wasn't the first one to say it. This took place in the ladies' lounge. But again, I took the I guess L for the whole team.
By bringing it up to him on film. So
it was filmed other times too.
That's what I mean. But they only showed you yours and Tony, so it made it look like the first time that it was shown was when you were talking to him about it. Oh.
So like I said, why apologize again? If everybody was saying it, you said, "Oh, come on." I know Natasha definitely inadvertently told the producers. I'm sorry. The way she told her story, it told me you inadvertently told the producers that you're moving mad.
Oh, shoot.
I mean, they did a really great job at painting me as the villain. So, I mean, again, you just gotta have some thick skin. That doesn't take away from what I said, though. I'm wrong. I'm not making excuses. I just want to kind of give y'all a little context of where that came from. But definitely not making excuses. I would never do that.
Jeffri, do you regret being that affectionate with Andre on camera filming?
No, we're grown as hell. Everybody's in their 30s and 40s. Like, no, we really were connecting. I mean, you guys, again, only get a few minutes. So, we really were focusing on our spiritual connection together. So that was our physical. What you guys see, that is as far as it went. Like, that's why you got the title Biblical Husband, because there's so many reasons for that. But yeah, like, we were practicing, focusing on true love that doesn't involve the regular, like, way you meet, you date, people mess around. That was not the thing with me and Trey. Of course I don't regret it. No, that's weird.
Morgan, when addressing Marcia at the reunion and calling her a distraction, do you wish you would have used like a different choice of words?
I feel like that I've been painted to be this, mean girl.
I needed to stop with this. I've been painted to be a mean girl. Baby, you are a mean girl on the show. Okay? All right? You are a mean girl on the show, girl. But what you said, yeah. You a problem. You know what I mean? You a problem. Like, by what you said, you a problem. You definitely are a mean girl. There's nothing else to it. Like, and why is it every season those people that are mean people try to act like it's an editing or whatever that's made them look like mean people, and then we point out what you actually said, and you're here trying to justify what you said. You the mean one. Okay, you the mean one. Okay, all right, baby, you the mean one. Okay.
So it's easy to look at me and think that I'm saying something mean. But as I just stated a few minutes ago, I'm a realist.
Period.
You know, I'm getting a lot of, oh, you could have said a different word. So now y'all want me to reword it. Like, it's literally the definition of a distraction. I didn't mean to demean her. I wasn't putting her down. I even said, like, no shade. I don't know what else you want me to call it. The definition of a distraction is something that takes your attention away from something else. So
Yeah.
I didn't say that you're
No, but you knew exactly what you were saying and the way you said it and how it was going to be, right? Which is again why I'm going back to why the frick she apologized, Natasha. Because what, do you want to say it a different way? Even your apology didn't even say the full. Your apology didn't specify what you were actually apologizing for. You just told us you're apologizing for being tactless towards her, right? You just apologize for, being distasteful and unacceptable. But you actually didn't say in the apology what you actually said, right? You didn't actually tell us what you're actually sorry for in that particular apology. So you just put a general apology. So actually, even that apology that was to Natasha, I don't know what you're apologizing for because you never actually said anything specific. Right? So her calling her a distraction absolutely was problematic. You didn't have to call her a distraction. You knew you didn't have to. You knew you didn't have to do that. That was distasteful. That was uncalled for. Right? That wasn't very nice. All right? But you ain't offering an apology, no? Okay.
a distraction, like, you know, you're a nobody. I'm just like, and I even elaborated on it. But again, y'all don't see this in camera. I said Jeffri had Andre and Mark Anthony. Mercedes had Mark Anthony and I don't know, Anthony. Cynthia had Anthony and Andre. Everyone had distractions. I said all this. So baby,
Why didn't you mention Lyndon? Why didn't you mention Lyndon? Why didn't you mention Lyndon? You talk about everyone else, but you don't mention Lyndon as one of the distractions. Why not? See, you don't want to be. See, you're very conscious about your disrespect. Why didn't you mention Lyndon as a distraction? Listen to all the names you mentioned. Never did Lyndon come up in that distraction conversation. Just saying.
I don't mean it to disrespect you, but I was the only one there, guys, that had nobody to divert these men's attention from me. And that was hard. So I just think she wanted a moment, which is why I said, why are you still talking? Like, I made it very clear that I wasn't trying to offend her. But I think she just wanted a moment. So, you know, what other word did you guys want me to use if it wasn't a distraction? You want me to sugarcoat it for you? You make it sound sweeter? I don't know how to do that. I call a spade a spade.
I know what a roadblock is better. A roadblock.
Now she's breaking the fourth wall. All right. And saying, you know, that you know, hey, you know, what else do you want me to call it? You know exactly what you could have done. You could have said, listen, hey, look, everyone else had someone there who actually was taking a bit of their time, which means their focus could be split. That's it. You didn't want to be questioned about the word distraction. You wanted to say it and say it however you want to say it to be disrespectful. And then when you're challenged on it, and rather than just actually, do you know what? I could have said it better. I could have said it in a different way that wouldn't have been so rude, right? The same way you realized that with Natasha, you could have said it in a complete different way, right? But you didn't want to. But with Natasha, you saw it. This one you don't.
Whatever, just we have to find
a roadblock.
A roadblock.
You want me to find another word? What? Come on, guys. You're being a little.
Roadblock's not a right word.
unreasonable at this point. And I just want you guys to like kind of, if you ever go back and watch the reunion, every time I open my mouth, the villain music come on. So they really like just changed the whole direction when I start opening my mouth. So
Baby, you was a villain before the reunion. Before the reunion, you was already a villain. You're not a villain because of the reunion. You're a villain before the reunion. The reunion only again solidified what we already knew. So if they were playing the villain music during the reunion, I get it. They're solidifying your position, but you were already a villain before then. Right? You were a villain before then.
Said you would have been a distraction. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I see comments in the chat, just to let you guys know, as you see on the screen, the only way that I'll bring your comments, if you want to have a comment or if you want to say anything to the ladies, or if you have questions in order to be brought on the screen, make sure you put it in the super chat, guys. Okay, so my next question is for Jeffri. When you said Black men do this every day, did you want to clarify? Because I know you came in the comments when I was doing my live one night and you did talk about it. Did you want to elaborate and kind of explain what happened in that scenario?
No, I mean, I said what I said. I mean it. I think a lot of people are triggered by that, but that's just the very problem with the community is people want to skim over the actual problem to focus on the irrelevance. So when I said that Black men do this every day on my side, my mic was actually turned down, which is why I posted that video to my page, because I'm like, they do this every day on my side. It's that I'm a, you know, there's so many single moms that I know. I mean, I'm surrounded by single moms. So it's like, don't say that, don't say that. And it's like, no one else has had to like talk about their children, or no one else really cared about anyone's children the way they cared about mine. It's because I was so vocal and loving, because they are like everything to me. But no, I don't really want to elaborate on it. I said that and I meant that. It's not, you shouldn't take it. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like if you're a good father and you happen to be Black, you don't need to jump up and get offense. It's just like someone saying, you know, all Black women are ignorant. I'm not going to jump up and argue with you unless I feel like I have some ignorance. Like, I don't care.
What? No, baby, you ignorant. That's an ignorant statement. That's a really ignorant statement. To say when someone says all Black women are ignorant and you think to yourself, well, it doesn't apply to me, so I'm not going to take offense to it, is nuts. Because the qualifying statement is all Black women. You in the all, babe. You can't run away from that comment. Do you know what I mean? So if you're saying all Black men, you can't run away from the all. Okay? You can't run away from the all, because the all is encapsulating everything, meaning you part of the all. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of showing a little bit of ignorance by saying what you just said. You just literally proved the point. But it's not all women. Yeah? It's not all. All right? So, yeah. I just need her to stop that right away. I need her to stop that right away. And listen, exactly, Natalie. Yeah, listen, there's a recent video of Oprah which has been speaking about something that's actually been spoken about quite recently as well. That, you know, Black men are very present, and we need to change this deadbeat baby daddy situation. That Black men are present and are at these people's lives. Now, of course, do we know a Black man who's not with his kids? Yes. Do we know a white man with his kids? If you know enough white people, you will. If you don't, then you don't. But yeah, you know. So, but yeah, she's showing a little bit of that ignorance right now, actually. Say, you know.
So if it's not, I feel like, you know, if you're triggered by that, you may need to do some, you know, self-searching. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not taking a statement back. No,
yeah. Understood. Morgan. Absolutely.
So when we were actually on stage, I remember saying, and not y'all, but as a whole, which is what I said after Jeffri said, I'm like, not you guys, but as a whole, and I don't have I'm not on Google, I don't have the statistics, but I know that there's a lack of Black fathers in the home, whether they are in jail or dead or just absent. There's a lot of absent Black fathers. Again, I'm very proud that I got a daddy. He right there in the house, you know, but you're also dealing with the upper echelon of Black people on this show too. No, we're not perfect, but you do get a different crowd. So hopefully that doesn't apply to any of the men that aren't ready to love. But yeah, I feel like sometimes we need to be a little bit more open-minded and realistic. Yeah, as far as it happens every day, I guess that's not what you guys kind of rubbed y'all the wrong way, but I will say this: there is a lack of Black fathers in households these days.
And we need to change that narrative. There's not a lack. There isn't a lack. Now there are Black fathers who are not present, yes, but we need to start changing this word, because honestly, it's this deadbeat situation it's labeled just on Black men. And it's the same thing when Black men talk about masculine women. It's not just Black women who are masculine. There are white women too who are masculine, but you don't call them masculine. You know what I mean? You might say they're a little bit spicy. Oh, they're a little bit, she's spunky. But the reality is, it's because of the way we have tropes that are attached to our color. Right? So we have to challenge the narrative she spoke up with. And if you're going to say it's you, just say it's you. In my life, the Black men have not been present. Don't bring us all in and rip us all in. Okay? Yeah. Let's leave it at that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and we all know it. It's one of those things where you want to find a reason. You already have put it in your mind of someone that you feel a certain way about. So you're like, yeah, wait, she said that. Oh, how could she say this? It's like, oh my God. And yet and still those same Black men that I said that in front of will defend me and take up for me to this very day, because they know who I am in real life. Shout out to Tony, shout out to Lyndon. You guys have to not take things so figuratively. You guys only get a small percentage, which is why these interviews mean the world. Because you can get a little bit more of who we are and understand a little bit more, since everything couldn't make the air.
Morgan, do you think that your ex still has feelings for you?
Oh boy. Damn.
And my next question when it comes back to you is going to be about the Nair.
So I'll say this. Junior and I we have we're cool. I don't talk to him every day. I don't talk to him every week, but we keep in touch. Hey, how you doing? I think if things may have played out differently in our relationship, then perhaps, but again, we're talking about, 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm sure he would entertain it if I was willing to, but I'm not willing to. Love you, Junior.
She said basically, he would entertain it if she was willing to entertain it. So Tony was right then. When he wasn't comfortable with Junior, like you said, you ain't finished then. Because if you entertain it, he would entertain it. Okay. Okay. I hear you. Now,
Hey, Junior.
So since we're already talking, not to give Morgan 2 questions back to back, but even though you and your ex moved past the Nair situation, do you have any remorse?
I mean, do I have any remorse? No.
Or like, do you feel bad? You're like, dang, I wish I wouldn't have did that.
No. First of all, let me just say this. Let me just say one thing, guys. You think Junior was the only one that I could have brought on this show? It was a reason. I knew it was gonna come out. Dare I say I wanted it to. Yeah, we moved past it. I think I said sorry. at the time or a few days after. But ultimately, I won't say, nobody deserves it, but it's not like my actions came from out of nowhere. If I wasn't sorry then, I just will say again, I won't ever do that again to anyone. And this is the thing, right? So none of y'all never had no crazy moments. None of y'all ain't never had no crazy moments where this man just took the last little piece of you and now you ready for war. So again, as I said on a previous interview, I normally walk away,
Crazy moments. I think everyone has crazy moments. Don't get it twisted. There are levels to craziness. And bear in mind, this was what, 3 years ago? 3 or 4 years. This is not you and your kid teenage years. Right? This is not you in your teenage years. This is you in your adulthood, full-on adulthood. In fact, you're in maturity. You're at auntie level, and you're doing this stuff. Yeah? You're almost in your 40s. You're 35, 33, whatever, doing this. It is grown-ass adult behavior. You are here doing that? Putting near people's hair. Baby, come on. This wasn't like when you were a teenage kid. This is you grown. That's nonsense.
Carry my little heart, mend it on up and going on about my merry little way. But with Junior, I felt like I warned him in enough time in advance, like, this ain't what you want. Let's just keep it like that. So again, we laughed. His friends laugh. I laugh. It's still funny to this day. Again, I just think you guys have to know Morgan. And, we just probably live in two different worlds where, it was a prank. It was a prank, and he didn't get hurt.
There was nothing pranking about this. There was nothing prank about this. There's nothing prank about this, Morgan. You just told us it wasn't a prank, because when you're saying is that, you warned him about this behavior. So it wasn't a prank, right? Let's not try to change it now. It's not a prank. You warned him. So how was that a prank? Come on. Right? That is not a prank. You're not in that situation. You know what I mean? It's not a prank at all. No, sorry. And listen, here's how we know what she did is not a prank. Listen up. Listen to what happens next.
He just lost his hair. Sabrina, you mad? Sabrina, you think I'm crazy?
Now, I have done some crazy-ish in my life.
We gotta hear one thing. Everybody share a report.
I mean, I was being very creative. I had to be very creative with that one.
You said
but y'all don't hold me to it. It was years ago.
Yeah.
So I personally, because to me, I've never done like anything physical to anyone, just because I've always been scared to hurt someone. But I have done some crazy stuff. I know Jeffri said everyone share, even though that this is y'all's interview, I will share that my man was cheating on me. He was at the Super 8 motel with one of the hoes, and the Super 8 motel, they used to have this big glass pane window, and he didn't want to open up the door, so I just kicked my way through, but I mean, I just felt like, but other than that, like, I ain't hurt him, you know what I'm saying? I was just trying to let him know, like, the door is not going to keep me from me.
You're a novice.
Man.
You're a novice. Novice. You're a novice, Sabrina.
Yeah, but I would be scared. I would be scared too. I don't, because I love people even when I'm mad at them. So I don't know. I don't. Oh,
I love them.
I don't think I could have done the Nair thing. I don't think I could have done anything like that.
Listen, I've never done anything to the equivalent before that or after that at the moment.
So do you feel like if someone did something crazy to you that, set you off, that you would do something to that level again? Like if they did something to you and you like, no. I'm gonna get you back. You know what I'm saying? Okay. You're past that. That was when you were younger, like you said.
Growth. Yeah, growth. I wouldn't do it again. I might figure out something else to do. It won't be that. No more physical harm. We won't do that anymore. And it wasn't physical. His hair just came out. My gosh, people, it grew back. He didn't get burnt.
Morgan, he could have had an allergic reaction. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still could have been. What if it did turn out bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, his hair, like
to Nair, an allergic reaction to Nair.
What if he would have someone put Nair in your hair? How would you have felt?
Oh, he would have been in jail.
I can't.
And I think it's at this point, every time I've told you, you guys know me, I've always said this. Morgan is still a baddie to me. She's still a baddie to me. She's sexy. I can't lie. But this is like this. When I watch this point again, I can't look at her that way anymore. I honestly can't. I mean, who cares anyway? Who am I? But I'm saying I can't look at it that way no more. No, she's still a pretty woman, but I don't see the attraction anymore. I don't. Because now I see evil. Beforehand, it's like, well, let's give her a bit of a chance because you know what? Maybe she'll come round and maybe she'll be accountable for her actions. Now I see you as evil because you're unremorseful and you're bound to do this again. If you're laughing and cackling and joking, and even now, up until this point, years ahead of time, you're still cackling and laughing about the situation without there being an actual remorseful state, like, you know what? I know I was wrong. I was bad. Then maybe we can laugh about it because at least then we know you're accountable, right? We've all done some stupid stuff and we laugh about it later on, but you can't even be accountable for it, right? That you're willing to put near in somebody's hair, that's just the start, because if you can start there, you can go further. Right? That's scary to me, right? All that beauty out the window now. Now I see a wicked witch. Now I see a wicked witch because you're unaccountable for the crazy things you're doing and you're laughing about it a lot amongst, of course, obviously Jeffri and Sabrina. And you very much know that your behavior, you can't get away with it. If it was done to you, it wouldn't be got away with. They would be in jail. But you still, even when you know that behavior would be you put into jail, you wouldn't still be accountable. So yes, it's scary. At that point, I am scared. I like that. I can't see a beauty anymore. It's out the door. Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah. So forget the Toxic Twins. Wicked Witch of the West. This is what I'm called. You know what I mean? Next Disney witch. Because what is that? What is that?
Oh my God, we got to get back to the questions because I know when Jeffri was like, you got 30 minutes. I'm trying to get the questions. I'm trying to get the questions. I know, and we're past it, so I'm trying to get the questions in. Okay, Jeffri, you said that Dre ghosted you, but
and before we get to that point, what I heard through the grapevine. You know, some of these blogs, I get information from different areas. People send me things, you know. People send me things. People send emails to me and da-da-da-da-da-da. If I remember correctly, this situation is deeper than just her putting near in his hair. I'm going to say allegedly. But what I heard through the grapevine is it goes deeper than just a near in the hair. I heard he had to go to hospital for this, though. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to say I heard he had to go to hospital after. Because there was more. I'm not going to say what it is. But he had to go to hospital after. So if he had to go to hospital after, it's not that. And again, it may not be true. It may not be true. But that's what I heard from the grapevine. But if he had to go to hospital after, then the story is much deeper than it actually is. And it's not just a simple, you put near in his hair. So yeah, allegedly. Let me put it that way. Allegedly. Allegedly. So yes, it's not a cool thing. It's not a cool thing. I'm sorry. That is not how we operate. That is not something we can laugh about and joke about and keep that as a minimalization. No. You're scary to me. Spelling this not done yet. Anyway, cool.
Dre actually said when he was backstage that you ghosted him. Was that true? Like, what happened in that situation?
Well, so just follow up what I said earlier when I said that we went to the dinner and he kind of basically said, hey, let's basically just kind of after the dinner from hell, I always tell my sister, I'm like, it was the dinner from hell. After that, he was just like, hey, like, I don't want it to end here. Like, I know this is like, I want to continue talking but like, let's just take our and I just felt like that doesn't align with me. Like, it doesn't make any sense to talk like we're teenagers, barely see each other, barely talk. So it just kind of fizzled out. And I didn't talk to Dre. And then, like, again, a week before the reunion, he's like, hey, Jeffri. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, yeah. So I think he probably had to talk and kind of smooth things over. He had a lot of good about him. But as far as when the part where the trust was really broken is sitting at that reunion and hearing him come up with an elaborate, that tore me down. And like, they cut out so much. They showed Morgan, because everybody there was pretty. Morgan's getting upset about, like, you have never interacted. You're not going to interact with my exes because they're not around. They're not in their kids' lives. You don't have any. I didn't know where he was getting this from. So he was just trying to figure out a way to just say something. So for me, that's, you know, a dig with my children if it's not that, you know. So I'm like, what? So I really, the conversation that me and him had there actually blew up bigger. But they had to cut it down because I kind of explained what I'm explaining to you guys now.
Yeah, understood. Okay.
I don't know what that was with him and Mark Anthony. Yeah, we just stopped talking.
Okay. Morgan, are you still dating Seeing Tony?
Tony and I are not dating. That picture that he posted, again, that was from the day before, the 2 days before the final scene. That's why I reposted, like, but I'm so toxic. Yeah, so we're not dating.
I think what's also scary is that Morgan is blissfully unaware of her own toxicity. She genuinely feels that she might be ignorant of her own toxicity. I don't think she realizes. But the way she took long to answer the question, she might be, you know, Tony and her might still be messing around. You know what I mean? You know, they might still be a mess around, but whatever they have, because in Tony's last conversation, it sounded like if there was an opportunity, if they could work out the issues, he'll be back with her. You know, on his last interview, it sounded like he would get back with her. I was like, oh,
I don't have a strong disdain for him like I did at the reunion, but no, we don't date.
Do y'all communicate at all?
From time to time.
Okay. Jeffri, Valerie would like to know, biblical husband, how did Dre meet that criteria?
Oh my gosh. Hi, Valerie, first of all. Over time, again, you guys only get such a small time, but on and off camera, I mean, this is a man that I prayed with, you know, consistently. We, you know, shared the same values and what we wanted for family. Everything aligned. So when you get the biblical husband, for me, in my opinion, is someone that you haven't been, you know, romantically involved with that way, someone that you're building with on the biblical alignment. So that's why I kind of titled him that, because it wasn't a superficial, hey, let's meet, we like each other and smash and dash. Like, no, he respected me so much, which is why you see him speaking so highly of me. It was like, I would walk in the room and he would literally roll down the red carpet. And I think, you know, a lot of people did not, you know, they probably like, well, why, you know, it's like, you can't help what is, you know, I can't help anything. I'm just coming in, I'm dating, and, you know, he got that because he showed me in every way. So guys, honestly, this was a big shot. I didn't see me and Dre not working out until that dinner from hell. I don't know if maybe people got in his ear. If maybe I think honestly, Dre kind of. I
think partly Dre wasn't serious, but also they got into Dre's ear and told him his sister told his ass, don't even dream of it. You'll not bring this woman into our house. You'll not marry her into this family. Don't even think about it. Don't even dream about it. I know his sister was on his neck. I know his sister was like, you don't even dream about bringing that girl to this house. Because the way she was reacting with her, I said, nah, that sister ain't gonna allow her to come into this house. That sister, he the little boy of the sister, like, you know what I mean? So that sister said, listen, don't even dream about it. Yeah, don't dream about it. You know you're not bringing her home. Play your little games, but don't think about marrying it. Right? So the sister was not on it at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think he even slept with her. So in the end,
me as the kind of man that needs validation from others for him to confirm his decision. But unfortunately, you miss out on your biblical life that way. You know, I want someone that's able to make decisions without needing the, yes, go ahead, this is the best thing for you, you know, especially at our ages. I didn't expect that. So I think it just came down to him needing validation from others. and not being true to himself.
Yeah, understood. Okay, let me take that off. And this is my
Guys,
last.
I'm sorry, Sabrina.
Yes.
I probably got time.
Healthy. But my therapy, first of all, I know this sounds cliche, is Jesus and God. That's my therapy. Prayer is my therapy for me personally. A lot of times
I'm gonna do a whole video on this. Because I'm sick and I'm tired of Christians saying that my therapy is Jesus when your behavior is unaccountable and toxic and mad. Okay, Jesus hasn't helped you up until this point, so I need you to get a therapist. Okay, and Jesus is not helping because you're not opening the door for him to help. Okay, Jesus has put wisdom in the hands of other men and women to help us along this life. Okay, all right. So we're gonna do a whole video on this because I'm sick and I'm tired of this. Sick and tired of Christians specifically say, I don't need therapy, I got Jesus, but your behavior hasn't changed in 10 years. Your behavior hasn't changed in 5 years. Your behavior hasn't changed in the last decade. Your behavior hasn't changed in the last 20 years. You're still behaving the same way. No. You need Jesus, but you need the therapy too. Okay? You need Jesus and you need therapy too, because you're clearly showing us behavior that is unaccountable. So Jesus clearly isn't doing enough, but it's not that Jesus is not doing enough. You're not allowing him to do enough. You need a man to be involved, to speak to you, have conversations. This is why God put us on earth. You know, when's the last time that you allowed Jesus to point out some of your behaviors? That's what I want to know.
Instead of finding somebody that's supposed to be helping me, and then I notice something about them, and I'm like, well, how was your day? I end up counseling them. It's just the demeanor that I have, and I'm always trying to help someone. I'm just naturally that way, but I think therapy.
So now she's saying that actually, me personally, I'm usually the one that usually helps people instead, and they're looking at me like I should help them out. Sis. And again, once again, she's put herself in this elevated position. You know, she's bigged up herself once more again on the situation.
He's a beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing. People shouldn't feel bad about going into therapy at all. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Morgan, real quick.
I have been in therapy before. I'm not currently, but I'm going to.
Sounds good.
I don't think there's anything wrong with therapy. There's no shame in saying that you're going to therapy. Probably not for what y'all think I need to go to therapy for. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with going to therapy.
Yeah.
What do you think we need you to go to therapy for, Morgan?
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
No, Morgan, what do you think we need to go? What do you think we need you to go to therapy for? How you assuming? What do you think we need you to go to therapy for? And how do you know what we need? Okay. How do you know as an audience what we are saying you need therapy for? How do you know? Tell me how you know. Tell me how do you know this? Tell me how you know what I and the rest of the audience are saying that you need therapy for. Okay. So, baby, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to need you to get back with that therapist. Because this behavior is unhinged at this point. It's unaccountable, and you're not even noticing when you move mad. That is problematic. Okay, that is very problematic. So I'm just saying, I need you, you know, I need you to, you know, get into that space, heal. Okay, get into that space, heal. That's what we need from you. Get into that space and heal. Because I honestly, I cannot. I cannot. Yeah, I don't think Morgan's coming on this show, guys. I did speak to Morgan, though. I've got through to our publicist. I'm still on red, though. So If the publisher could get back in contact with me, that would be very helpful. You know what I mean? If the publishers could get back in contact with me, I'd be very helpful. We could hopefully chat up again, and maybe we can actually get this interview going. But I understand if she doesn't want to bring me through, because you know the kind of content that I do, I'm going to hold her accountable, and I am going to question her and ask real questions, and I'm going to dig back into your past, and I'm going to ask those questions that other people might not want to ask, because I don't give a heck necessarily about you on the show all the way. I'm talking about why you got to that place. Okay. All right. And we're gonna be discussing this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But if the publicist could just get back in contact with me, that'd be very helpful. You know, and we would love to you know, be able to get her on the show. You know what I mean? But I've spoken to Morgan too. Like I do need to message her as well. So you know, I'll message her back as well, because I need to message Morgan back. I think I've left on already myself. I did say something to her, so I just need to just maybe message her back as well. So but yeah, you know, it'd be like that, you know. So but I get it. You know, I understand it. Listen, all I'm saying is we need accountable behavior. That's all. We just need accountable behavior. And this right now is unaccountable behavior. All right. Jeffri's not coming. I don't think Jeffri's coming. You know. I don't think Jeffri's coming. I personally don't think Jeffri's coming. You know what I mean? So we'll see. You know. I've messaged Jeffri though, but I haven't seen it back. You know, so maybe if you guys shout her out, maybe if you message Jeffri and Morgan for me, let's see if we can get them on. Do you know what I mean? Message them for me. Let me know, innit? Get me. Let's try and get them on. You know me. I'm never gonna say no to I'm never gonna say no to an interview. You know what I mean? So if you message them for me, we'll see. I've messaged them already, but if you message them for me, let them know that they should come onto this channel, have an interview. It's a safe space until it's not. No, it's a safe space, but we're gonna ask them real questions. Yeah. So yes, they are both on Instagram, guys. You know. So I said, if Morgan comes on, just know she's in the mood to fight. You know what? If she wants to fight, she can fight. But that's Zadja, same thing. Same thing with Zadja. She came, you know, with energy too. But the reality is, you know, look, we're only here to, you know, hold people. We just want to hold them accountable by actually discussing what actually got you there. You know. So yeah, we're not here to tell you that you're a bad person. We're here to tell you that your behavior stinks and it needs to change, right? But how did you get there? You know, that's what we want to do. So we'll see what happens. You get me? You get me? All right. So I'm gonna leave it now. Listen, I'll be back on later on for Married at First Sight. You know, we're going to talk about Married at First Sight and later on, but I've already got Anthony's on Friday, guys. Anthony's on Friday. I'll put up the poster. Anthony's on Friday night. So let me just, you know, tell you that, guys, for free. Anthony's on Friday night. We have Anthony coming through, so he's gonna come and tell us his truth tomorrow night. We have Anthony, baby. Okay. When you left, I lost a part of me. Is it too hard to believe? Okay. So we're gonna break it down. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you guys as well. Much appreciation. We are going to get things rolling from here on out. Okay. So make sure you guys stay locked and you stay loaded, you know, and for more great content as well. We appreciate you. We'll see you again very, very soon. But before we do, you know, this woman needs to be.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Not on our watch. Okay. Not on our watch. Oh, he spilled the tea, did he? Did he spill the tea? Oh, he spilled the tea. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a review then, isn't it? Oh, I'm gonna have to do a review on that. Oh, snap! Because we interviewed Cynthia last week on Monday. Oh, snap! Did he review the tea? Did he release the tea? I'll have to go and watch that then, innit? All right, guys. I appreciate you. Still lots of We'll see you again later on. I might do a replay of his. I might do a review of his interview then. Woo, baby! You better get Chile in here, baby.